see you in a minute and 7.
But, like Jesus.
Hey. Wow, I'm on an extreme delay here. Do I seem delayed to you guys? It's that
No.
thing again.
Uh-oh.
Nope. Just can't watch
Hey,
myself. Okay, it's fine.
Unplug your unplug your 3 prongs.
Unplug all 3 prongs? Cat knows I'm a 3-prong guy.
Oh. Sorry about your life support, Gramps.
Oops.
Yeah. I need an adapter for when I travel overseas, Cat. Hey, welcome back to a show where we talk about inside jokes. That would be something, right? A whole podcast where all you do is inside jokes.
Oh, no.
Terrible.
Oh,
What if
that was a
nobody
delay
got
there.
any of them? That'd be great.
Yes.
Instead, let's do this. Let's talk. Let's welcome you back to another episode of 1980s Now, which instead of inside jokes is a weekly examination of the importance of 1980s pop culture and its influence. Yeah, weekly-ish influence. Today, hey, my name is Will, and joining me, I want to say as always. Now I'm putting caveats for everything. Joining me are my friends. They're definitely my friends.
We are
my
always
co-hosts.
your friends, as always.
There
Friends.
you go. Always my friends and co-hosts, Kat and John. Hey guys.
Hi, everyone.
Who are allowed to join on occasion. Hi.
Well, I say that because I got, there's at least a couple of variations coming up, I guess, which I'll talk about in 1 second. But I want to let you know before that, hey, don't forget, he doesn't need our help anymore. We helped launch his career. But, let's get him to 200,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yes.
Give him a bunch
Then
of
you kick
listings
him to the curb.
and find his podcast on any of the podcast platforms, including this one that you're listening to on right now. Go listen to our good buddy there, John, who has his own show, Gen X Grown Up. There you go.
Nice. Thank you.
Switch to the comments in case anybody's here. Okay. And hey, hello, welcome to folks joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us some Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to do the same. We'd love to have your feedback and comments live as we chat about the latest topics related to 1980s pop culture and our youths and all that sort of thing. Speaking of that, hey, Ted. Hey, Karen. Hey, Brandon.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
And I see
Peoples.
there's other. Go ahead, John.
I just said peoples.
Oh, peoples, yeah. And I see
Peoples
there's
are
other
appearing.
folks there that haven't said hello. If you're there lurking, we don't know your name, but that's okay. Hey, on today's
Lurkers.
show, we're going to chat about a number of things, including how Martin Kove showed no mercy for his co-star. There's a new graphic novel that expands the Blues Brothers tale. I may have been wrong about George Lucas, turns out.
Ah, I wondered if you were going to say that.
But I may have been right about The Running Man. But probably not. I just wanted to have those juxtapositions. It turns out it's still good to be the king. Mel Brooks is bringing us an even younger Frankenstein, or Frankenstein, I should say, probably, right? Because at that point, he would be Frankenstein. Yeah, so it has to be.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's a new documentary chronicling this rise and fall of the video rental stores in a unique way. It's kind of neat how they're approaching this. There's time codes if you want to skip to a particular story and then skip back to a different one and create your own, choose your own adventure there, right? Or not?
I still wonder if anybody does that.
Times in the show notes. Come on. Who's doing that?
Hey, hello.
Everybody
BFG.
listens to every second. You don't skip any. You listen to the whole
Right.
thing all the way through.
They heard that too, right? Hey, a couple of quick announcements, and I want them to be quick. I've wasted enough of your time already, John. It's over here, buddy. Wasted enough of your time already. A couple of things. Let's see. What have I got here? What did I want to say? Oh, hey, yeah, hey. Next week, Next week on the show,
But he
talking
doesn't want to
about
waste your time.
this is one of those
By
variations.
being prepared. We don't want to do that.
One of the variations I was talking about. So we had tragedy strike not during our visit to Atlanta at the Southern Fried Gaming Expo a couple of weeks ago, but afterwards, or maybe during. I don't know because technology didn't tell me. But we had a lot of fun there doing our presentation where we told the the real life treasure hunt that led to inspired video games and a bunch of other things afterwards. That story's crazy, I think. It takes a little while to get going, but it's fucking weird.
It is. Yep.
I think it's part of the mystery that somehow your SD card was corrupted while talking about that particular topic. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. If it had been more of a paranormal type story, I'd be with you. But
Dismissed as lightning.
maybe it can keep us from getting to the truth. Or do we get to the truth during the story? So as John mentioned, that file of our live broadcast, which we wanted to share with you, got eaten, and only partially, which is even more bizarre from a technological standpoint.
Oh.
Anyway, my good friends over at Desperately Seeking the 80s, Jessica and Meg, are going to be joining me on next week's show. I'm going to tell them that story. John and Kat, I can't surprise these guys even when it's hard to get them, livened up, and I'm going to share with these two folks who.
What?
Wow.
Well, on a normal day, and then if you've already heard the story already.
Did you hear him? Hard to get us
What I'm hearing is, so we did it live with John and Kat. Nah, we're going to try it again with some other co-hosts.
It was corrupted.
We're gonna,
Yes, corrupted.
Oh, yeah. It was corrupt, all right.
If you'd like to apply to be a co-host on a future episode, we take all comers. Hey, and the other thing I wanted to tell you about is, please, I'm desperate here.
Where's this going?
Speaking of weird stories, there's a bunch of them in this book here, Totally Bogus but True Tales from the 1980s. And look, if you're a listener of the show, Kat's going too. Hers has got typos in it.
Yes.
If you're a listener to the show, you've heard these stories already. But they're, John's got nothing. Clean. He's got a chicken nugget.
He has a chicken nugget.
But what am I going to say? But hey, we're going to give away a copy on this episode to somebody in the live today.
Wow, nice.
Right? All right, cool. Hey, look who's here. Miss So is here. Hey, Miss So, how are you?
Miss So.
Yep.
And Darth Bach is here too.
Making the
It's great
rounds.
to see you guys.
All
Haven't seen you guys in
right.
quite some time.
Yes.
All right. Hey, we have no time to lose because we got a lot of things to chat about. So let's get started. Reminds me, I got to remember that. I didn't bring up that game thing. What's that? Is that spinning wheel, spinner?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Yep.
What's that thing?
For the
Here
thing
it
that
is.
harvests the
Giveaway.
comments so you can spin the wheel. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Although right now we could roll a 6-sider. Let's see.
I have some on my ears. I have dice earrings on. I
You
can
do?
just take one off and shake and roll.
Link. Oh, here it is. Choose a live stream. Fight me. The 80s rule. All right, cool. Here we go.
There you go. You did it.
All right, cool. So that's ready for later. I got to spell bogus right, though. All right, there we go. All right, hey, this is what I want to chat with you guys. So, okay, look, is there any particular order to this? I thought I had an order that was cool. Oh, yeah. Let me skip around here. There we go.
That had a nice flow to it.
Yeah. The same
One
order
lead
that
into the
here
other.
we go. All right, hey, did you guys hear this story? Now, look, I've been trying to get Martin Kove on the show since I first started the show. Now 7 years ago, we just started our 7th year.
Yes.
And I've always gotten no. And I want to say, was this before Cobra Kai started? Maybe Cobra Kai had just launched. It was on YouTube. They weren't sure how successful it was going to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's since blown up. I'm not trying to say that, I anticipated the success of the show. I wanted to talk to him because he's an 80s icon. Always told no. I've never really gotten to find out if he's a real curmudgeon-y guy in real life because he always plays these kind of rougher characters,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's typecasting or not, except maybe we have some evidence. Because on June 23rd at a convention, like these conventions that we go to, Martin Kove, who's, as I mentioned, he's better known as this character Kreese, right? He was in Rambo or one of the Rambo 2.
Right.
But he was also most well known for being the heavy in the Karate Kid in 1984. Small little cameo there in Karate Kid 2. He was asked to leave the summer con and after his Cobra Kai Co-star Alicia Hannah Kim accused him of biting her during a VIP meet and greet.
Yikes.
Mhm.
I could not get into reading this fast enough
Yeah.
because that was what? It's so baffling to me. Biting.
And nothing in the article really answers my biggest question is the context of the biting. You know, like was there something established? Had there been some running joke about biting,
Right,
or did
right.
somebody go, you see you again, I'm gonna bite you, or was it just "Rawr," like out of the blue?
Yeah.
You know what? You know, look, I'm not saying the young lady deserved to be bitten unexpectedly, but I don't know. There's still questions that are not answered in my mind about this situation.
Correct.
It wasn't in the midst of a fight. It wasn't a Tyson move, right? He wasn't frustrated with the grapple or something.
No, yeah. But she explained to the police officer who was stationed there in the VIP, presumably to protect them from guests of the convention and not one another.
Yep.
What she said was she, went behind Martin and tapped her Kove, let's say, tapped him on the shoulder. Hey, buddy. And he grabbed her arm and immediately sunk his teeth into her flesh, nearly breaking the skin and drawing blood.
Did you watch her Instagram video that she posted?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Yes,
really?
you can see, and she's very clearly showing a bruise on her
Yeah.
upper arm. It's crazy.
She had to get 10 rabies shots that evening. Yeah. Now she's turning into a Vietnam vet, I heard.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bleh.
or a corrupt karate teacher.
According to the story, he allegedly, immediately after he bit her, he grabbed her arm and started kissing the spot like, okay, I'm sorry or whatever. But then, and so she let it go. But then later she told her husband about this. And then they both approached Kove and said, this is not cool. And according to her, he exploded on them saying, how dare you challenge me? And my right to bite people randomly. There's a little more detail or explanation in this long police cam footage, if you've watched that.
No,
Where we've got the body cam footage of a police officer who has them both outside and some other folks, including Martin Kove's son, I believe,
wow.
talking to them, getting the report together. And Martin says, look, we have this relationship, on set or, behind the scenes. It's playful. We hit each other. We rib one another. We give each other. And so for me, it was just that. And I took it too far and I didn't mean it. And she says something to the effect of, we're not friends. We're professional. We behave in a professional way.
Oh,
She says that, what was it? I wrote it down here. Oh, she said, you think that's playing when you, quote, raised in a ditch? In this footage, she's really upset. She goes on to say that she would have struck him when he did that if he were not a senior citizen because she, quote, respects the elderly, end quote. I think the thing that makes this even a little bit stranger for me is they play love interest briefly in the show. Minor spoiler. He's, I don't know, he's pushing 80. I think he's 82 or something like that. She's much younger. So I don't know.
wow.
Maybe the most painful thing there was we are not friends. Like, ouch. Yikes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't. She says, my husband doesn't bite me.
Martin's like, you don't know what you're missing. That's my love
yeah.
language. Nibble, nibble. I don't.
Let me bite your husband. They don't know. You get my venom in him.
Oh no. He should have stuck with a punch or a.
He should have just swept the
out of it.
leg. That'd been
yeah,
fine.
right.
Right.
Or
Fall on her
swept the
ass.
leg.
There you go.
Yeah. Just keep your teeth out of it.
I was acting out a scene because we're not friends.
And scene. Yeah. Oh, boy. She declined to press charges, but she did want to file a police report. She says in case, there's something in the future. I guess there's a record of him attacking her.
Wow.
I would imagine getting set off if someone bit me. Probably doesn't matter who it is. There's just this instinctual, visceral response that you have to being threatened. It could be a very good friend. And you still be like, what the fuck, dude? And you just freak out. But she was bit. She goes away. She goes with her husband. She leaves it. She goes with her husband. They come back. They have a little bit of some words exchange. She leaves. She tells a cop, this motherfucker bit me. Oh, well, I got to do something about that. I can't let that go. You want to press charges? Well, I'd like to. All right, then they gather them together, and she is still mad. Why did I say all that? I forget.
If a friend did that to
Yeah, I don't
you,
remember.
you'd be mad,
Huh.
but
I don't
oh,
remember. Damn it.
Like, you're laying out this timeline of
Yeah.
of the order of events, and
Mhm.
I'm sympathetic. Look, everyone's experience is their own. If she felt it was some invasion of her privacy and stuff, maybe I'm sure it was for her, right? But we also don't know. Do we? Just like I want to believe her at her word, I want to believe him at his word until I know otherwise. That
Right.
What was the intent? Maybe it was inappropriate. Maybe, I don't know. I just hate the assuming everyone has ill intent immediately. So just as, of course, I believe this young actress. I believe Martin saying that I was overacted. I was being goofy. I did, I could see that. Again, benefit of the doubt on both sides for my money.
Yeah, I agree, John. The part about having it on record in case something happens in the future, I was like, does he have a habit of biting
Right.
people that we haven't heard of?
Yeah.
And yeah, but at the same time, I don't think she should let it slide. I think she needed to
Sure.
somehow address it. Because that's a little weird.
As Kat pointed out, she did release a video to her Instagram followers just saying, in part, quote, "No one wants to be attacked at work or anywhere, really. I just think that when you are confronted with something like this, it's good to stand up for yourself," end quote.
Yeah.
Kove later responded with his statement saying, quote, "Strike first, strike hard, no mercy."
That's
No,
the
bite
opposite.
first, bite hard. No mercy.
No rabies.
Draw blood.
No mercy.
Yeah, you do first, boy, let me. No, he did. He did. Look, he through his. This is so funny because it says Kove apologized through a statement released from quote so and so crisis management. It's a company you hired. It's specific. Look, guys, I'll give you whatever you need. Just take care of this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the
according
I's
to
were
this-
dotted, the T's were crossed. It was a very boilerplate apology. I take all responsibility. Didn't
Yes.
mean it this way. Please,
Yes.
nobody cancel me. Love,
a
Martin.
wonderful woman, great,
Yes.
whatever
Mhm.
acting partner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Karen says,
He
"My
didn't write
cousin
any of
did-"
that except Martin at the end.
All right, I said what?
I wouldn't have said it like that.
Karen says, "My cousin bit me once. He was 3 years old."
Once.
I thought she was going to say once, and
Once.
he's not alive to do it
He
anymore.
never bit
Apparently
anyone
he did.
ever again.
Yes.
Didn't want to share his popcorn with her while they were watching a movie. Hey,
Oh.
That's right.
here's another story that I thought was pretty interesting. See if you guys have any particular feelings about this. And I learned this reading in Screen Crush. The Blues Brothers are back.
Mm. I think
So-
that's cool.
It's taken, we've had other Blues Brothers since. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But
Ish.
yeah, I know. 45 years later, after the original, at least, which came out in 1980, we've got Jake and Elwood back with a sequel. At least the first sequel in some time. And it's not a movie, though. Instead, it's a graphic novel called The Blues Brothers: The Escape of Joliet Jake. It's set 10 years after the events of the Blues Brothers movie. It follows a search for the band's lead singer, Jake, who is the character played by John Belushi. According to the press release about the comic, in the new book, quote, Joliet Jake has disappeared from prison, but has he committed the unthinkable jailbreak or was he kidnapped? A new cast of characters are now on their own mission to find Jake and the mythical briefcase full of blues. Huh.
It sounded
is
like
there
you said
already-
ooze. The
Of
free
what?
briefcase full of ooze.
It's a Ninja
Ooh.
Turtle crossover with Ooze. No, the Blues.
The blues.
Is there a canonical reason why Jake would be back in prison? Because the first film opened with him getting out of prison.
Yep.
Could it have the results of the activities that took place in the film? Because I don't remember if they addressed he was back in prison. How did that work?
Yeah. So at the end of Blues Brothers, the first one, they get so the film is essentially it's one in a long line of the trope of they save the orphanage or save the
They
community
save the
center
orphanage.
stories.
That's right. They get there, they get the rubber stamp, they pay the
Yes.
taxes, and
So immediately after they pay the taxes, there's a bevy of cops waiting for them and they get arrested.
Ah,
The last
yes.
scene, the tag is them performing Jailhouse Rock,
that's
I think,
yes.
in the prison.
Okay,
So,
yep.
Yeah. So they
in the
are
prison.
in jail
So they
again.
were back in prison. In fact, the whole band was right. They were all playing along. That's right.
Yes.
They all ended up in prison, even though they weren't complicit in in that part of it. They all got arrested and
right.
served the same prison. So I guess they're still there 10 years later.
Mm.
They did
Yes,
wreck a lot
right.
of cars.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I watched that movie not too long ago. I want to say last summer. My oldest loves it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and has for, I don't know, for the longest time. I don't remember how how she was first introduced to it, but yeah, we watched it not too long ago. It's fun. And it was fun to see, we were at Universal when they still have those guys, they still have guys that impersonate them. And the two that we saw at Universal were
they're great.
spot on. Spot on.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
What else? So anyway, the other essential member of the Blues Brothers, Dan Aykroyd, who played Elwood Blues, provided editorial oversight, it turns out, and a new foreword for the book, which was written by Stella Aykroyd. Huh.
Wow. Yeah.
Stella.
That's cool.
Stella is.
Yep.
That's daughter?
His wife, I think.
Oh, his wife? Okay. Luke Paisano and James Werner, and with art by Felipe Sobriero. I want to know who Stella Aykroyd is. Stella Aykroyd, real quick here. Stella.
Yeah, pretty sure I read it's his wife. I might be making that up.
Well, there's a mention about John Belushi's wife later. I wonder if that's.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yep. There you go.
Yay! Oh,
Stella.
can I get a
Can
can I get a Foley, please?
What's that?
Can I get a Foley?
Can you get a Foley?
Ta-da!
Is that what that's
Oh.
called?
I want to say,
Oh,
is that not a Foley?
I thought you
Am
were going to
calling
go
it the wrong thing?
squeak, squeak, squeak. You're going to open the curtains again.
Now,
for us.
yeah. Is that what you mean? There's that kind of thing.
I
Yeah,
want
you
the
can-
triumph.
Yeah, that sure.
The power.
Oh, you
No.
want the fanfare.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant I was correct. It's his daughter, not his wife.
It's his daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said I was correct.
What?
Yeah, I was
Really?
correct. Whatever. I was
Damn it.
correct. There you go. Foley on that. If you don't recall, the Blues Brothers first premiered, they first created these characters as cast members for Saturday Night Live. And they opened for the Blues. So they had this album, right? Briefcase Full of Blues. Fantastic album. For me, it's like one of my favorite albums. I don't know if I could say I had top 25 or 50 albums. It would definitely be on that.
Wow.
But it turns out that live recording, which you're probably familiar with, was recorded during a performance in which they were opening for Steve Martin back in 1978.
Yes.
Are you guys fans of the music?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
I have not listened to that album per se, but
Yeah.
I love that kind of music. And I love the
You know, it's
movie.
funny. As soon as you say Blues Brothers and you said, I'm not sure how I first exposed to it, I always remember it was one of the bargain bin VHS tapes I picked up when I bought my very first VHS tape when I first moved out on my own.
Oh,
And I had
wow.
like 3 VHS tapes, and one of them was the Blues Brothers, and it was in heavy rotation.
that would be out of 3, you know. Yes, it would show up a lot.
Yep.
Or light rotation because it's pretty small before it comes back around. I don't know. I think I saw it at a much younger age. I want to say maybe it was cable, but we might have had a bootleg copy of it. But I think I can't say for sure, but I do remember. First of all, that album was something that was played at family parties like all the time. It's such a fun album. I remember in particular on New Year's Eve that album being played from like beginning to end. Flip it over, play the rest of it. I want to say that the characters, though, I feel like I was young enough to not understand that those were Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. I thought they were a real band. And so whenever I saw their performances, I thought that was them. I don't know when I understood otherwise. But as I pointed out before, I wasn't a terribly bright kid, I think, because
Right.
I'd been fooled by these things in other ways.
Right. You thought Christopher Reeve was Superman. You
Exactly.
remember you
That's
talking
right,
about
that's right.
when you discovered he was an actor. Yeah.
Yep.
And one thing, I understand where you're going with that, but I mean, they are a real band. They're just not just a real band, right? I mean,
Yes.
You're right.
they're playing characters they're playing fictional characters in a genuine band in which they are a member. But yes, I know they are still playing characters.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
It's multi-layered. I think the first
is.
time I saw it was
It's pretty meta.
Yeah, yes, it is. I think I was 23 or 24.
Oh, wow.
I was a
Okay.
young adult when I saw it because it's my husband's favorite movie. He
Is
is,
that right?
yes, or at least second favorite,
Okay.
first or second, somewhere. Yeah, I think it's the first favorite.
That's pretty high up there. My
Yeah.
goodness.
That is
Yeah,
a mission
Yep.
from God.
That movie we're talking about was directed by John Landis and written by Landis and Aykroyd way back when. Of the book, Dan Aykroyd that is, says, quote, "The escape of Juliet Jake is a passing of the legacy to the next generation." I guess that makes sense why his daughter would be writing it. Echoing the true heart of our original story, keeping alive what should not be forgotten. Oh, end quote. I love that idea. I mean, it's kind of the premise of the show too, I think. Now, it's not the first time, as we mentioned, that we've had other things that attempting to extend the mythos, the lore of the Blues Brothers. In 1980, there was a book published, Blues Brothers Private, which was written by Belushi's wife, Judith Jacqueline, and Tino Insana. The video game, The Blues Brothers, was released in 1991.
It's a video game.
Yeah.
The Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Run of the mill platformer. It's nothing remarkable. It's not particularly Blues Brothers-y. It's just those are the characters you're running around with. 90s video games.
Right. Just they skinned Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again.
Oh no.
Yep, pretty much.
And in 1998, we saw the release of the abysmal Blues Brothers 2000. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I missed that.
I don't think I've ever finished that movie. I've
Oh,
tried
no.
a couple times.
Oh,
No.
no.
And it's not that I resent them trying to do a sequel. And look, Aykroyd's involved, right? It's just every time I tried to watch it, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
There's something about it there's a spark that's not in there that you're like, this feels like going through the motions. I can't do it. So some people like it. Good for them. Yeah, I can't.
It's kind of, you're making me think this now, right now, that it's kind of how I was thinking about, putting Indiana Jones in the 50s or 60s or, nearly in the 70s in that last film, that the Blues Brothers set in 1980, which is of a time. Like even the notion of Blues Brothers 2000, like what is that? It's the future.
Right.
It's, I don't know, the Blues Brothers, and even think about the blues, it's a period kind of vibe to it.
There's a grittiness to it. There's there's the salt of the earth kind of grassroots kind of people. And putting it in the 2000 was basically saying put layer chrome on it. That's not what the movie was, but anything with 2000 at the end is, it's the future, right? It drug it kicking and screaming into the 2000s, and it was maybe it wasn't great. Again, I haven't watched the whole thing.
No, it's not good. Well, that's why you didn't finish it. I mean, obviously, right? Sure.
Yeah. It might get good later, is what I'm saying.
It's fantastic. The third act, John.
You're missing out. Got to just go survive.
Brandon says Blues Brothers is a property that needs not to be messed with today in any way. They should never have been Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh.
Karen says, if I watch it, I sound like I went home to Chicago for a week. My favorite song from them is Sweet Home Chicago.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And Brandon points out they were kind of like a Spinal Tap situation. Yeah, exactly. We've had a few situations where characters or actors develop characters that are musicians.
Right. And they just bleed into it. Yeah. And they just like, where's the line exactly? Yeah, sure.
It's a good point.
And before Spinal Tap, Michael McKean was Lenny on Laverne and Shirley, and he had Lenny and the Squig Tones, and they would perform on shows like not talent shows, those are like variety shows as that band. I don't know if that predates Laverne and Shirley. They worked together before them, but I don't think.
I'm not remembering
that had to come out of Laverne and Shirley. I'd wager 45 cents that was post Laverne and Shirley. In order for anybody to care or know who Lenny and Squiggy were,
you gambler.
had to first. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So Brandon doesn't want anyone messing with the Blues Brothers property. But Brandon, are you okay with this? With a graphic novel?
I can't speak for Brandon, and I'm just stalling for him to answer maybe. But because it's a book, right? Unless they're going to set it now, you would hope it's 10 years later, so it's set in 19.
It's just 10 years. Yeah. Yep.
So you would hope it still has, still again feels of a time, right? We're talking about over 30 years ago.
Well, and here's the thing: you can project. Remember, I said that Blues Brothers 2000 felt like it was missing that spark. You can project that spark into it. Because just like with a book, the graphic novel is just a little bit more than a book. You can put your own feel into it. You can put your own mannerisms into it because you're just seeing a few frames out of this movie is all you're seeing in this book. So you can make it feel the way you want. So I'm super happy with it. I'm excited to read it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll check it out too. Yeah, now artwork looks pretty cool too. Brandon says, maybe that'll be okay.
Maybe.
He is not impressed with this idea.
Holding judgment. Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to chat with you about this. I've got a confession to make. I may have been wrong about George Lucas. I don't think so. I think we'll talk about it. So you may recall, and this happened just a couple of weeks ago, an audience was finally permitted to watch the first released version of Star Wars. Talking about before it was called A New Hope. It was just Star Wars.
Oh,
It certainly didn't anticipate the absolute blockbuster success it would go on to have. But this version was nearly perfectly preserved, unfaded. And it's the one that George Lucas has vehemently opposed, has been opposed to anyone seeing. And, in fact, he's gone so far as to claim that this doesn't exist. It doesn't exist a version of it. Now, he may not have known, because in fact, when the British Film Institute event took place, they had Kathleen Kennedy there, the president of Lucasfilm, introduce the film, and she said, "This may be the only version of it like this that exists."
I would love to see it. Love to see it to compare. Yes.
It's gotta leak out. Somebody's got to get a hold of it and do a transfer.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Well, it turns out the folks that did see it said it was a bunch of McClunky.
McClunky.
And said they wish it were. Yeah, but it wasn't at all. Cat's working on a cackle. Cat, calm down. Good Lord. Why does she do it through one of those paper towel rolls?
She's pretending she's on a 40s radio show.
Okay. All right. She sounds evil, though.
Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. Flash.
An attending critic from the Telegraph who was at the screening admitted that the unaltered version, quote, looks terrible.
Oh, no.
By modern standards. Now, look, most fans, including myself, most notably, have complained about the things he's done, in the last couple of decades. Most jarring changes, which involved computer-generated graphics, adding a Jabba the Hutt, making Greedo shoot first, and now say McClunky. Adding other creatures and droids into the film, taking some out. This kind of shit that you didn't need. There's some tweaks he made that were good, but those he didn't. But it turns out that seeing the film in its most pristine, unaltered version may be worse than that.
Maybe worse than all the add-ins.
This Robbie Collin wrote, I felt like I was watching a completely different film.
Wow.
He called the print, quote, a joyously craggy, grubby, stolidly?
Uh-huh.
This guy's going to use a bunch of words I don't know. Stolidly carpentered spectacle that looked more like fancy dress than grand sci-fi epic.
Wow.
He goes on to talk about how without and look, Lucas made changes to this thing immediately. As soon as he came out, he started making tweaks. Right. Even just adding it's chapter 4 now, or whatever it was, episode 4. And little changes to some fight scene, different graphics, some things, but you wouldn't know those kinds of changes. But this guy, what it seems like is maybe there were some other things that, maybe he changed since that we appreciated even before, I guess, the, CG stuff.
Before we knew to complain about changes.
Yeah. Like he says, as a result of this unaltered version, or this unaltered version, he says, looking at it, says, every scene had the visceral sense of watching actual people photographed doing actual things with sets and props that had been physically sawn and glued to place.
Oh my gosh, yes.
He said the slapstick between C-3PO and R2-D2 looked clunkier.
Oh,
The Death Star panels were less
McClunky.
I like how it looks like Will just fell on that button. His head went down and clunkied.
McClunky.
And then this way.
Just like that.
The Death Star panels.
Big buttons just out of frame.
Yeah. Right. That was easy. Cat, don't even. No, Cat, stop. The
I
Death
lent
Star
it to somebody.
panels were less like supercomputers than wooden boards with lights stuck on them. It felt less like watching a blockbuster in the modern sense than the greatest game of dressing up in the desert anyone's ever played. Oh my goodness. Now,
That's awesome.
Isn't there this delineating line though? Because he was, as you noted, making changes almost from the beginning, week 2, right after. He didn't want to release it when he released it. He was still making changes to prints. But then there was the special editions, which was that 96 or something, somewhere in there.
Yes.
The
right
special
before
edition started. I
Phantom
forget
Menace,
somewhere in there. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that's when like big changes were made. But all that being said, the only part of this that I now begrudge Lucas is hiding the original.
Right.
Because as I'm not an aspiring filmmaker, but I'm a creative. You like to see great people's dirty laundry. You like to see how it got to here. You like to see an early cut. You like to see, he wants to pretend it doesn't exist, which he's done quite well for some time. Because he doesn't want anyone to see how grimy it is, as is clearly in the case of this cut, which I would love to see for that very reason, to see why it's so grimy and what he did.
Same.
Yeah. But look, you can argue, and we have ad infinitum. Whose is it? Do you have the right to change it? Do you have the right to update and modify and insert characters and clean up? Part of his sentiment has always been, that's not the movie I wanted to release. And the argument is like, well, too bad you did, because now that's the one we remember. The problem is, because the line is blurry, you don't know what you remember until you actually now can go back and see. Some people can see what it really was. And as you said, maybe a little more understanding for Lucas as to he wanted to feel more epic and not people standing on a set doing things, right?
Doing actual things with actual props.
I would love to see that. I would love to see it.
It is ironic that the thing he didn't want us to see actually may make us appreciate him more.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you for
Right.
pointing that out. Right.
Still upset
Yeah.
with him about doing it, but you're like, I get it. Yeah, I wouldn't want people to see that high school photo either, right? It's one of those things.
But
Now, admittedly, I do have on one of the DVDs, because he got sick of people saying this, release the originals. On one set of DVDs, they did release a version of the film that they said was the quote unquote original. Whether it was a scan as old as this one, I don't know, and I'm doubting it. But I will tell you that, quite honestly, when I went to show my kids the films for the first time, and I wanted to go in the order that we saw them growing up,
Right.
I put it in, and after 20 minutes or so, I was like, this looks like shit. And I turned it off. I was like, you know what, guys? Maybe we'll watch the new ones, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to annoy the shit out of you by telling you what was changed.
Yeah.
But and because you could see a lot of the seams, and it did bother me. But at the time, what I was thinking was, that fucking George Lucas, I know what he did. He said, you want it? I'll give it to you. But I'm not going to do shit to clean it up. I'm going to digitize a terrible version, which is only going to enhance the awfulness of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did. Maybe it just, like these guys are saying.
Maybe that's what it was all along.
yes.
Is this a similar thing to going back and watching a show from the 80s where you're like, I love that show, and then you watch and like, oh God, this does not hold up.
Like, what was I thinking? We're experiencing that right now. We're watching Tales of the Gold Monkey. And it was like my husband's favorite show. And I remember watching it. I didn't remember the details, but there was just a feeling about it. And we're going through, and I was like, what? Yep, that did not age well. Oh, man, they did that. Like, there's just, as a kid, none of that mattered. But
You know what I notice when I go back and watch some of my favorite childhood shows, like The Incredible Hulk, the Lou Ferrigno series, The Greatest American Hero, stuff like that, is I notice how different. Yeah, there's the stunt man that's very clearly not the stunt man now that it's not on a 4:3 grainy television. I can see more clearly, the green booties Lou Ferrigno's wearing when he's running down the sidewalk and all that.
yes.
But the thing I noticed the most that I can sympathize, again, with Lucas a little bit, is the pacing. If you watch an 80s hour-long television show, I'm like, really? You could have cut at any point. I got to watch the guy walk all the way from the car to the front door, get his keys out, fumble with, no, where's the cuts? Where's the action? Where's the motion? You could re-edit these as 33-minute episodes if you wanted to and trim them way down, because what passed for action back then, and I can imagine being someone like George Lucas, who he had the vision of this is going to feel this. You talked about the timing between the droids, 3PO and R2-D2, right? Like, if it wasn't right, he's like, well, let's tweak this and cut sooner or whatever. I understand that feeling, because especially just when I look back to, 30, 40 years to those shows, they just feel like they're high school productions because they had no idea of what the concept of good editing was. It was weird.
Yeah. Yep. Good point.
Marcus reminds us that you talked about Alf, how Alf didn't hold up on a Gen X Grown Up episode.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, although it is a puppet, so that helps. So.
Oh, speaking of puppets.
Ted says, I was okay with improved graphics, but not changes in character actions like Han shooting.
Sure.
First, yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus says, or dirty laundry, like how a podcast is recorded live in Atlanta. Then I don't know. Oh, maybe changes he's made.
Is he talking about us?
Yeah. He's like, he's talking about me re-recording. I'm pulling a Lucas here by having Megan and Jessica on the show.
I think that's delightful.
Look, that's how Will always intended that episode.
Yeah,
that was his initial vision. It wasn't me and Kat there. It was these other kind of young ladies, and so
it doesn't exist.
You have to give Will his vision.
That's right. Yeah, and then when do you see the version that's going to come out? It's going to be full of all these kinds of things are going to be added.
It's just going to be people sitting around talking about things.
Yeah, actual people.
Actual people.
Talking about actual things.
Well, that's a
podcast
name right there. Yeah. Brandon says this version sounds like it would be either the greatest or worst thing for the hardcore fans.
Oh, yeah.
Marcus says now I got to get used to new randos. Well, Marcus, I'll remind you, Meg was filled in for John once, and she's fantastic. So, and I haven't met Jessica yet, but I listened to their show, and they're great together on the show.
She sounds like a character. Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. Speaking about being wrong about George Lucas.
Oh. Segue.
Watch the trailer.
It's time to play. Oh no! Goodness.
Once again.
What else was Will wrong about? Was it that he didn't press record at SFGE?
Oh no!
Let's go to the footage.
You got half the show. You could just put out half the show.
Yeah, I thought about it, Kat, and then thinking like, we'll do the rest live on our show here. You know, I was like, I don't know.
Just change hosts midway through. No one will notice.
Yeah.
To be continued.
So I wanted to talk about the new Running Man trailer.
Okay.
But should we watch it together now? It's like 2 minutes and something long.
I've already watched it like 10 times. I might as well watch it another one.
Oh, it's pretty long.
Yeah.
Well,
so we have context.
It goes by quickly.
Let me see here. Are we going to have that thing where I can't share things, though?
I'd watch that for $1.
Oh, there he goes. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let me
see.
see
your mic. We heard it.
This. All right. Let's see if that works. Okay. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Let's see if this will work. So I also put this new present button here. You see this on the thing here? See, present.
I can't. Oh, I do see it.
Cat doesn't see squat.
Is it dangerous if I say share screen, YouTube, allow? All right, let's see. Last time I tried to do this, you couldn't hear the audio, but it says also share audio. All right.
Yeah, click that button.
Sounds like
Is it on the screen now? See, now I got to click another button to share it.
Oh.
4 more buttons. Keep
it
going.
Looks like something's coming.
All right,
okay.
There we go. I'm going to put it, zoom it in. See if this makes a difference. Is that a difference?
Yep. Perfect.
All right, cool.
Yep.
I'm going to play it. Hopefully we can hear it. Hopefully we can all hear it. Are you hearing?
Yes.
Ben Richards, 35. Married, 1 child. In medical crisis.
We need money for a doctor now.
Ben, what just happened?
Employment status, blacklisted. But there's still a way out. It's the biggest show in the country.
Bloodlust is our birthright. Set it free. Welcome to the Running Man.
People on these games never come back.
I'm not trying to get myself killed, so kiss my ass twice.
Right there is why you can win this game.
You got a hot ass.
Survive 30 days. The entire nation hunting you down. And get your family out of Slumside for good.
I'm gonna come back here and burn this building down. I promise.
That's the spirit.
This is America, goddammit! And we don't put up with no bullshit! Yeah! Hunt him down!
Mitch Macy.
Stop filming me!
Have you ever wondered if this game is rigged?
Guess we'll find out.
You might be moving up too fast.
Hey, buddy. You're on Freebie.
You better run! I got a grenade!
Back at you.
I'm still here, you shit eaters.
This is my favorite part.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
All right, two things.
Yeah.
One, I'm hoping we didn't just see the entire movie. I hope that there's,
Right.
some other
Right.
stuff that will still be a surprise.
Some
But
surprises.
yes, but yeah, they show a whole lot. But I am wondering, like, oh, how did he get in there? What happens after that? So I want to see this movie. And also, there's an older Running Man, right? Like, there's was it Sylvester Stallone?
Arnold
or-
Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, sorry.
Oh.
And which I've never seen. It's on my list, and I just haven't gotten to it.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
I'm just
Okay.
wondering, would you guys recommend watching that first? I wouldn't mind doing a comparison, or do you feel like that's not worth watching? What's your
You should watch that whether this movie's happening or not. I mean,
okay? All right, cool. All right, yeah.
Running Man is something you should see. Absolutely.
Okay.
Whether
All right.
this existed or not. Yeah, certainly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I definitely enjoyed the original Running Man, which came out in 1987. Both of these obviously were inspired or based upon the 1982 novel by Stephen King. Where, as you see in the trailer there, or if you haven't seen it yet, it's I feel like look in 1987 we can say this is a dystopian future where people are watching, people play a deadly game show on TV for money.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is like probably September, right?
It looks pretty real. Yeah.
September or
Yes.
October
Yeah.
this year.
It doesn't look that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they say science fiction is supposed to be this logical projection of reality, which I think we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And now we are so close to the. It's not projected very far in the future any longer. It
No.
feels right there. It's the the drone shooting the guy. Hey, look, you're on Freebie.
Right.
No surprise there. Drones flying around shooting stuff now. Sure, why not? Yep.
You remind me, and I should have looked up the news story to just tie it to see how timely it is. But I do remember our president there was a story where he was, and this isn't bullshit. One of these reality TV show production companies had approached him about producing a show where undocumented citizens do contests like physical feats or fights. I don't know what the challenges were in order to gain citizenship. Whoever wins gets citizenship, and everybody else gets sent to a country to which they never.
Oh wow.
Now it's just idiocracy at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, all the films, all the films. Yeah, but Kat, the idea of comparing them, what Edgar Wright had alluded to before we had seen a trailer, and what seems to be proven by this is the movie is going to hew more closely to the original book, whereas the 1987 film does not. It took a lot of liberties.
Okay.
In this film, in the book, it's a nationwide, hunt. You can go anywhere you want. In the movie, there's let's say a set. It's
sort of
on rails,
gladiatorial almost. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's
interesting.
they have part of, I want to say it's LA, but it's like blocked off where you can fight on these streets, but you can't go anywhere. This one you could just go wherever and you're being hunted. And some eagle-eyed folks are thinking that there's some clips or some bits in this trailer that really suggest to them that the movie is going to take on some of the darker elements, story elements that were in the book that were not in the 1987 film, which I won't mention what those were, because if you want to avoid them altogether, you should, just in case they prove to be true. What do I got here? Oh, so there you go. I think it looks fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I want to see it. I am into it.
You know,
November?
It's another one of those that almost, I know it got made because they attached the Running Man name to it, but it looks like one of those, like, I'd watch that movie if it was called Death Game, or, you know, didn't have to be attached. That's a premise that's not brand new to Stephen King. The idea of, you know, people hunting a person, you know, so
yeah.
Again, I know it was made to be, and not like Running Man is this sacred franchise I'm worried about damaging necessarily. It's kind of, it was done, and now we're going to do it again. They did that with Total Recall. We had a new Total Recall in the 2000s somewhere, as I recall, which was, as I totally recall, that it was, it was different enough, but it wasn't, you know, it didn't damage the original because it was kind of its own thing, a new interpretation. And this is that again, probably even to a larger degree. So yeah, it just looks fun. It doesn't have to be Running Man, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And Edgar Wright, I think I like most of Edgar Wright's movies, if not all of his films.
What else has he done that I would maybe know?
Yeah, he did Baby Driver. He did Scott Pilgrim.
I love Baby Driver. Oh, all right. Yeah.
Cool. Marcus reminds us that the movie from the 1987 film is set in 2019, whereas the novel is set in 2025. Now, I wasn't just trying to be silly when I said, am I right about the Running Man? I want to harken back to when we first chatted about this when it was announced. Oh, not when it was announced, when some set photos leaked. The Daily Mail ran a story where they were suggesting that the movie might actually be set in the 1980s. And they were saying
there was some cars or something, right? And we see like some vehicles and
that was, now I remember us talking about that.
He had some clothing on that was 1980s-ish, they said, or 80s-esque. Right. And I said I had seen other I took it even farther. I said I had seen set photos with these 80s cars there. And I suggested that maybe they were Easter eggs, if in there at all, because the makes of the cars were the years that the book and the other film came out.
Yes.
I don't get any vibe of what time this version is set. You guys pick up on anything that may give you a clue?
Except for like the kind of super soaker thing at the end, which to me screams 80s.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought you were going to say it was okay. Yeah. Maybe it was supposed. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know enough about water pistols to know.
From what I saw in it, I think, and you kind of touched on this too a little bit, Will, is that it's not that far from where we are now. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is set within 5 years. So it's 2030 or something. Because nothing I saw in there was like Fifth Element, over the top, crazy, sci-fi, super techie. It was like, oh, we kind of have all that stuff now. This is just a little more. And so I bet it's, and to make an impact really for a modern audience, you know, make it a little closer to home than it used to be. I think it probably is. Yeah.
And maybe, hey, it would be fun. Like Marcus says, the novel was set in 2025. It would be fun if it came out in that year, right? And it's set in that year and everything.
Yeah.
We're going to find out on November 7th later this year.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey, let's talk about this. Speaking of movies that we saw when we were kids, is this why we want to do this? What else I got here? We got more stories than I thought we would get to. Okay, here we go. So speaking about movies we saw when we were kids, and we touched upon that idea a couple of times already, including with talking about the Blues Brothers. There's a really cool documentary that's coming out. Or actually, it's out already. I don't know how we can see it yet. Maybe one of you guys knows, but it's called Video Heaven. And it, again, as I teased already, it's just it's touches upon one of the many shared experiences that seem unique almost to our generation, as in the sense that we were the last generation to maybe have it. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but I visited video stores so many times in my youth. And there was something exciting just about going to a video rental store, that you felt like the potential for adventure or sadness or happiness or comedy was there. And it was represented in just the imagery of the boxes that surrounded us.
And sometimes it was not there. Sometimes it was just a box.
Yes.
You were too late.
You look behind it. Damn it. It's out.
Yeah, but that came later, because I remember when we first went, it was a mom and pop store. In fact, a friend of mine in elementary school's family had one. There was that one, and there was an even smaller one that was essentially just a room near where I took piano lessons that we would go to, before or after piano lessons. And the tape just wasn't there, because they had like one of each, or maybe two. when they started becoming more of a chain, yeah, then you had the one that was just the filler box.
Yes.
I've seen a great many documentaries, which this is not a pure documentary, by the way, from what I saw in the trailer. I'm sure you're going to link to the trailer in the show notes. But I've seen so many of the last blockbuster, the death of video, the VHS revolution, whatever, that are talking about they're talking strictly about the experience that we had individually. But what grabbed me in this trailer for Video Heaven is that they're talking about that, but they're also talking about how the video rental store itself became part of the very pop culture that we were going to the video rental store to see, how it was portrayed in other movies. It was a backdrop where someone was shot, or it was, the guys worked there and that was their job, and it became part, and how it wasn't just our experience. It was this inception concept of our experience of the experience, that we went to the place and experienced it to see. It permeated because it was so ubiquitous in our experience. It became the backdrop of so many things. And they touch on all that too. And look how the store, not how we remember it, but how it was portrayed in so many TV shows and films that needed a typical 80s backdrop, and Video Rental Store worked.
Yeah.
This gentleman, let's see, Ian Robbie, I don't know how to say his name, of Movie John. He talked about it as Movie John is the website. He talked about it as being like an Ouroboros of meta commentary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that. Yeah, I can't. Look, I'll just be repeating what John says. So I'll tell you.
And narrated by Maya Hawke too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you see that clip where she's narrating while her dad is in the movie in one of the clips? Oh,
yeah.
So it's 10 years in the making. Alex Ross Perry has finally come out with this a documentary, Video Heaven, which retraces the history, as John explained, using solely appropriated footage from a vast array of films, Hollywood productions, non-professional, non-budget affairs, that feature these, local video shops in the films. But at the same time that they're showing that, they're chronicling the rise and fall of video stores by showing the rise and fall of them in these.
Yes.
I love it.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
It looks really, really compelling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently it was inspired.
And if you think about it, the video store was the hangout in some 80s. And then as you get later in the life of video rental stores, the decrepit video rental store is another kind of, scene, internal, decrepit video rental store, because everybody knew that version of them too, as we watch them slowly decay and become less relevant.
And apparently it was inspired by Daniel Herbert's 2014 book, Videoland, Movie Culture at the American Video Store. I'm not familiar with that. But just building on what we said here, and I think this is from the site of the producers of it that released the film. They talk about how Perry shows that video shops mirror a wider social history of various developments in media. How, for example, the early video shops with their bespoke, responsive curation were pushed aside by chains with commercial centralized selections, and how a culture of secret knowledge generously shared was turned into an institution for the manufacturing of consensus.
Ooh, heavy.
Yeah, that's heavy. It looks a lot more fun, and I don't know. I imagine there's some aspects of it that will pull at your heartstrings, though, because they're using, films that semiotics. There's already we already have something baked into these movies because we've experienced them. So now experience on two. That's another thing. Experiencing on two levels: our own experience that we lived with these stores, and then as it, All right.
Yeah. No, it's Yep. Good point.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to this too. Somehow, don't know how to watch it yet.
Yeah,
but
I don't either.
I hope we can figure it out. Yeah.
John doesn't have a hand signal for where people can find it.
I've been looking. I've been watching.
Okay. Yeah. It became available. It became available on July 2nd somewhere. I just know that John changed screens.
Somebody has
John's
it.
looking. John's looking right now. He's checking out. Look,
Browsing my phone.
Yeah. I'm always worried you could tell I'm actually watching porn while we do this. With glasses.
Well, we can, but we don't care. It's all right.
Don't tell me. Yeah. You would tell me if you could see how weird it was.
Maybe that's why your Wi-Fi gets a little wonky.
Yeah, that's.
Be downloading too much.
It's like, this 4K is great.
Oh no! Stop!
Oh,
I can count the pores. It's amazing.
I don't want no. Brandon says, "Don't let cars put dates on things. I drive a 2000 Oldsmobile." Yeah.
Oh wow!
Well, yeah.
Right.
Ultimately, what I thought, Brandon, was that the cars that they had weren't going to be in the movie, or maybe they are, but they're Easter egg. That's just such a dumb theory. I had to make content. You got to make content out of something. I was trying to be more ambitious then. I have John as a hero and mentor to me. And I've given up now, though.
He's striking back by not having us on shows in the future.
Yes, exactly. I decided to make things worse.
Jealousy is a bad color on you, Will. Really?
No.
Marcus nails it by saying, "In 40 years, we will need a podcast about a podcast about a podcast." Yeah, that'll come. Full circle moment. And they'll feature this clip, us talking about
completely told using clips from existing podcasts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. That's what the robots will be doing. Take over. Hey, one last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is it seems like it's still good to be the king. We got a couple of Mel Brooks news here where he is once again poised to dominate our pop culture. This, of course, you heard while we were on hiatus, is that we Spaceballs 2 continues to move forward with some really exciting news, including the fact that we've got original cast members returning. Bill Pullman and Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
Rick Moranis in the flesh.
Yeah, are set to reprise their roles as Lone Star and Dark Helmet in a new Spaceballs from Amazon MGM Studios. And the original 1987, the original, this is written weird. The original 1987 film's director, writer, and star Mel Brooks will also feature once again, reprising his role as Yogurt. I wonder if he's going to die like Yoda does in Empire Strikes Back. He's got it, right? Because Mel Brooks is, I think, 92 now. Just celebrated his birthday. He just fades away, in the blankets.
He's going to become a Force yogurt, Force ghost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Huh.
He becomes low-fat yogurt.
Yeah. Right. And this is a real interesting cast.
A mere shadow of the real yogurt.
And this is a real interesting cast announcement. Is that in addition to Bill Pullman being in, why can't I hear you guys anymore? What is going on here? Check. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong thing. I turned the wrong thing.
It was the porn.
He had us muted for a great variety. Great portion of the show, he had us muted.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you guys sound like?
Really helps him to focus.
Bring on Meg and Jessica.
Turn down the porn, Will.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Did you hear that? You didn't hear that, did you?
No.
In addition to Bill Pullman coming back, newly aboard. This is what happens when I try to read just grab a couple of words off a script and that's a weird phrase.
It's good.
Also, that's why it says that. Also newly aboard in an undisclosed role is Pullman's son, Lewis Pullman. Who's I love this guy. He's just so charming and handsome. And if you've seen the new Thunderbolts film, he plays a very kind of childlike character. It was also then terrifying at some other point in the film. Really fantastic guy. He was also in the Top Gun Maverick movie, that Top Gun sequel.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know. Are we thinking about time travel here? Are we going to have or flashbacks? Are we going to have a younger Lone Star? Or is it going to be a son to Lone Star? I'd almost rather have a flashback or time travel than have it just like son of Lone Star. But maybe they're trying to set up future films. You can't have a ton of these parody films, though. We don't even have them anymore. So I don't know. Of course, the addition,
as they pointed out themselves in the teaser trailer, it literally calls out all the films that have had sequels and many reboots and sequels in between the time of the first Spaceballs and this one. So how ironic would it be for them to try to set up their own series of future sequels? So I get the feeling. Look, I get the feeling they're going to pull out all the stops and do everything, not try to set up a future one. Because Spaceballs is one of those movies that you just run off the rails as best you can and have fun with it. It's not, you're not guiding yourself down a narrative that's a multi-movie arc or anything. They just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and most of it does. So I hope that's the path, like you think. Yeah.
Yeah. It occurs to me, I'm saying that we don't really have these films anymore, but I've got to say, and this isn't, we just also saw the trailer for the new Naked Gun movie.
Yes.
And holy shit, am I on board? 100%. That was part of being, cautiously optimistic, because I think Liam Neeson can be hilarious. But they just, I don't know. They like John always talks about, it's this threading this needle of paying homage to the original and still making it contemporary by continuing it. It just feels old and familiar and fantastic and hilarious. Yeah.
Yep.
I thought about you, Will, when I saw one of the new posters for The Naked Gun, where it's Neeson holding a pistol in front of him, and it's way too many fingers wrapping around the gun, and it's like it just says, "This poster not created with AI." And it's clearly like fingers are coming around through the holes in the gun, and everything is just all wrong. And I'm like, the way it's poking, the way a Naked Gun film should, the way that I know it's not Zucker and Abrams again, but that kind of ludicrous humor that is poking fun at our current culture, and yet staying in that Naked Gun valley, I'll say. I'm so on board with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if, because we don't have these types of films anymore, if it will appeal to a younger audience, or is it just a familiar genre, package for us that, we're already primed to enjoy it.
Yeah. I have heard some observations that people worry that they'll pull punches because of the time we're living in, where Naked Gun jokes were pretty blunt, and poking super solid fun at whatever the current environment was. That's not cool anymore. But the word I hear is that lots of people won't like it because it goes back to those Blazing Saddles-esque, this is just comedy, deal with it kind of jokes.
Yeah.
Which we could certainly use, I think.
Yeah, and Seth MacFarlane produced it. I don't think he wrote it, but right? Yeah. It's was it the Lonely Island guys wrote it? And
you're right.
Right?
And Akiva or Yorm, whatever his name, I forget which one it was. Yeah, Akiva Shaver, I think is his name. Yeah,
right.
From Lonely Island.
And Seth MacFarlane produced it. Family Guy doesn't pull punches generally. They're still pretty edgy. They may have made a tweak or two, but not this is funny. Where is it here? Okay, slated for release in theaters in 2027. The film has been described by this is out of Deadline. Okay, now I don't know if they were doing Mel Brooks to us, but this is a line of the Mel Brooks, rather out of the article about this film. Slated for release in theaters in 2027. The film has been described by those who have not yet read the script as quote, a non-prequel, non-reboot sequel part 2, but with reboot elements, franchise expansion film. It was they're having fun with it, I think.
Oh, that's great.
It's delightful.
Anyway, and speaking of Mel Brooks, hey, look, man, exciting things for him, maybe for us as well, because a comedy series based on Brooks's classic 1974 film, Young Frankenstein, is nearing a pilot order at FX.
It's Frankenstein.
Yeah, again. So it's called A Very Young Frankenstein, but as John points out, maybe it should be Very Young Frankenstein, because if you're not familiar with the film, I mean, it's this, it's the grandson of Victor Frankenstein wrestling with his own identity. He wants to distance himself from his, family's history, but by the end, he embraces it. But at the beginning, he's Frankenstein, yeah. So he would have to be a very young Frankenstein, which would be a funny way of also promoting the show. I again, cautiously optimistic, but encouraged by the fact that Brooks is going to executive produce it with a trio of creatives from FX's What We Do in the Shadows, including Taika Waititi, who would direct the pilot. And that's super encouraging.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Again, I think I also got this from Deadline. This is from the Deadline article about very young Frankenstein. This is a sentence. I'm going to read to you. Details regarding the reboot are under wraps. Here is the plot description. Inspired by Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein.
Perfect.
Yes, I had a little trouble reading that section. I was like, wait, what? No, there's something.
Was there something? Yeah, did an ad go in there and deleted it or something? Yeah.
I repeatedly tried to get it. And nope, this is how it is. Okay.
I'm super curious what they're trying to do. Like, is it, who is young? the monster is young, or is it Victor
Oh.
is young, or do you have another monster that was younger before we saw the monster that, and young implies this happens before the film we know. Maybe, or maybe young Frankenstein is a descendant of the Victor we saw in the film, and it's a continuation. They really haven't told us.
I didn't
so-
think about all those possibilities.
Who is the young? What is young? Is it the man or the monster? And is it in the past? Like, is it Gene Wilder's character younger, or is it a descendant of Gene Wilder going through the same existential crisis of dealing with the repercussions of what his lineage has done, like Gene Wilder was doing? I think there's so many things you could do in this. And the way that What We Do in the Shadows brought these vampires into modern day, I bet that sensibility is such that this is now a Frankenstein story happening in modern day, dealing with that lineage where this thing really happened. That's my hope, based on what I saw and What We Do in the Shadows and what is possible. So we'll see.
Right.
Again, I've not read the script.
You're the one who said the you remind me, John, I think it was the last season of the final season of What We Do in the Shadows. One of the characters did make his own Frankenstein's monster, and that was
that's right.
Hilarious results.
Because all those things in that universe, and it might be in the What We Do in the Shadows universe.
Oh,
because in that universe there are monsters and vampires and werewolves and mummies and every paranormal whatever out there was in that universe for them to enjoy. So why not the Frankensteins?
If you don't know this already, not only did Gene Wilder star in it, but he also wrote it with Brooks. He had approached Brooks with the idea when that pair was filming Blazing Saddles, another collaboration that they worked on, including something is going on in my house, tap dancing or something.
Oh, well, I know there's a dancer in your house at the very least.
Yeah.
And there's a
She's a
puppy.
dance though. I don't know.
Oh,
It's the monster.
Could be.
Put on the ridge.
Yeah. Whenever Brooks and Wilder worked together, it was fantastic. Going way back to I want to say 1968's The Producers, which is also fantastic. Speaking of that, putting on a Ritz musical number, turns out that Brooks didn't want it in the film, and that Wilder had to convince him to do it. And it seems so Brooksian to me, that whole thing, that it's hard to imagine him ever putting up a fight. But of course, much like The Producers, which I mentioned from 1968, which was ultimately adapted into a Broadway musical, so was Young Frankenstein, which debuted in November of 2007. And they were going to do a live musical. Remember, ABC was doing these live musicals for a period of time. They were going to do one in 2020, but it didn't move forward. I wonder why. What happened in 2020 that might have put the kibosh on that?
what reference point do we have?
Yes. That would have impacted live performances.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, there you go. That's all I wanted to talk about. You guys got anything else going on? Yeah. No? Let's see. Is there any comments we need to catch up on? Miss So says Bill Pullman, sweet. Yeah, I like Bill Pullman. I've seen him in some shows lately. He plays, what's it called, Sinner? He plays like I think he's a journalist, but he's like solving murders.
Okay,
really,
I've heard of it. But
yeah,
I haven't watched
it. Can be dark at times, but it's good. What else? Miss So also says had no idea that we were remaking so many Gen X classics. Yeah, still turns out we're still viable.
There's still more to do.
Yeah. Brandon says, I hope the return of Moranis leads to sequels of every movie he has ever been in.
I don't know about
that. Get Ellen Green on the phone. Yes.
Make another Ghostbusters with him in it.
Right. Just him.
Just him. Yes.
Of course, Ellen Green co-starred in Little Shop of Horrors.
Let's get Lucas on the phone. We're going to take some new scenes. We're going to stitch them into the new Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
We're going to retcon whatever the last two Ghostbusters were to include Rick Moranis now. Sure.
Absolutely.
Digitally add him.
Sure. Yes. Like Jabba.
Marcus says there are 500 different Star Wars things for Spaceballs to parody. Yeah, that's true. And one of the questions I think alluded to by that silly synopsis that sounds like it was actually written by, one of the writers, is that we don't know if it's a prequel or a sequel or both or, Yeah, that's true, Marcus. Yeah. There you go. Oh, Miss So asks if there's any interest in the new Tron trailer. Looks awesome. I agree. It is so. Look, I wasn't a fan of the sequel mostly because I found the CGI was really distracting with Jeff Bridges' character.
Mhm.
But this, and I don't like Jared Leto. So knowing that he was behind this third film coming out and he stars in it, maybe he wrote it, that gives me a little bit of a concern. But the trailer is so cool. The idea that the computer generated characters come to our world instead of the other way around, and to see them visually represented the way they do in this trailer, it's really kind of I think it's fantastic.
You might need to
I still
check
got
it
my
out.
Tron shield up a little bit, I'm
Yeah.
like, I've been heartbroken before, so I've watched the trailer once, and I'm like, it looks cool, but I'm not going to get excited. I'm on Tron Ritalin, so I'm like, never get no highs, no lows, just right in the middle.
Yep.
Of course, you said you're Tron
Neutral.
Shields, right? Pictured you taking the disc off your back.
He did, yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's on my forehead and my forearm, but on my forehead.
Actually, you're,
know,
you're
Speaking of
talking about
clunky.
expectations, so keep it on your forehead.
That's right. Just keep my forehead.
Clunky.
I just remembered, my maybe I've told you guys this story before, but one of my good buddies when we were kids, so I would DJ since I was very young, since I don't know, 12 or 13. And so one of my good buddies, let's say borrowed, no, he stole, let's just say what it is. He took from an outdoor construction site, a flashing light. It was one of these, it wasn't sophisticated. I'm sure they're more sophisticated now and they're probably LED and stuff like that. But this was a light that, they'd have as a warning. There was probably an accident there later that day.
Oh.
It was warning oncomers, passengers or pedestrians, cars,
Yes.
etc. And what it was like a metal box, pretty simple. And on both sides were a blue plastic cover of the light, both sides,
Like
and the light
lenses,
inside.
right?
Yeah, right. And the light was flashing incessantly. There were no buttons, no switches, nothing on it. All there was a keyhole for to whoever could actually open it and turn it on and off, whatever, to change the battery, whatever. He brought this to me because he was like, "Hey, you could bring this to parties."
Oh my gosh.
That's
That's awesome.
Later, my dad would see this and would be like, "Who the hell? Where'd you get this from?" I'm like, "So and so brought it here." He's like, "There's only one place he could have gotten this. Tell him to put it back."
Oh.
But before that, or maybe after that happened, probably after that happened, because we didn't get rid of it. Instead, I was trying to take it apart to, get it to turn off, because the thing was just constant in my house. Just, hey, I'm still here. It was like I had to hide the light, and
Nobody could sleep.
yeah, and we didn't have a big apartment. It was like hiding the light and covering it. So I was taking
Covering
it apart.
blankets.
Exactly. I'm like, hope this doesn't set fire, because who knows what kind of 1980s technology bulb is in there.
Man, it's like the old Christmas bulbs. Yeah.
But we got these blue, as John says, lenses off of it. And I want to say they were probably 8 inches in diameter. Probably. They're decent size, 8 inches in diameter. Very quickly, one of us realized or that these could be used as the discs of Tron.
Oh, okay.
And so, sure enough, we're pretending to have them on our back, and like a disc is throwing them at each other. Good Lord, if this is not the heaviest plastic, probably cancer-inducing plastic ever made.
Full of lead, right?
Yes. We got, one of us, probably me, got hit once, and it was like, we're not doing this anymore, man. This will break a bone.
That's a heavy identity disc. Man.
Yeah, this guy's got a lot of identities, multiple personalities in there. Yeah, that was, there was a short-lived Discs of Tron game in my basement once.
I'm out. No more.
Yeah. I think one of us, again, I say one of us, it wasn't me, because I was always so scared of screwing stuff up at my house, sunk it into the sheetrock in our partially finished basement, like dodge it and like, all right, this is bad.
Like
not be doing this.
Like a Captain America's shield lodged in the the cinder block, like a clank.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Did you put a poster up quickly? Find a poster to cover the spot?
Probably, Kat. I was so scared of anything my dad had made or built or owned. Oh God, laid claim to. Damaging it.
Oh.
All right, hey, don't tell him. Hey, that's our show.
And our show is brought to you thanks in part to our early adopters, like Rick Parker and Karen Flieger.
Yeah.
And thank you especially to our Secret of Our Success level Patreon supporters, Nick Guillory,
Yep.
Marcus Taylor, Tony Great, Matt Marino, John Henderson,
Go, John.
and Brandon Greer. And there's some surprise that I'm supposed to not be hearing. Is there another person?
Oldsmobile, Brandon Greer.
Or should I just say, and Brandon Greer?
What? Do you have an announcement to make, Kat? What are you talking about?
But you're both going, shh, don't tell her. So
No. I said don't. I meant don't tell my dad that I put a hole in his sheetrock.
Oh,
yes, the hole in the sheetrock. We're still protecting his childhood reputation for the basement sheetrock.
I thought you were withholding information from me. So I thought, oh, is there another patron?
Not me. He might. I don't.
Oh, man.
Hey, let's do this. Let's do this now, and maybe we'll stick it in the audio so people know that we can do stuff. Let's give away this book. Totally bogus, but true tales from the 1980s. Now, the tale I told you about, Discs of Tron, that's a true tale. But it's not too weird. It's maybe you didn't have a similar, the exact experience. Maybe you had something similar, a friend that stole stuff, and then, you'd get into some trouble. That's not in here. Those stories are in my other book that's coming out. But this one is actually true tales from the 1980s that are weird, supernatural, and that sort of thing. Anyway, it's on Amazon right now. It's about $9. It's $8.99 because they tell you when you make these books, they still tell you to do the 99 thing.
Oh my
that's
God.
more attractive to people.
Yep.
Anyway, whatever. But I want somebody in the right now joining us on the live to have this copy or one that looks just like it.
Very similar to this one.
So this is what we're going to do. If you want it, put hashtag bogus in the comments and let's see, we will give it a moment here. And if you do that, then we could spin a wheel here and it will randomly. Did I do this right? Hopefully I did this right. Huh. Doing it behind the scenes here. Hashtag bogus. BOGUS. Should I have said book? I'd probably just say hashtag anything.
Yeah.
Or maybe nobody wants it. Maybe nobody reads.
Well, I know at least one of our attendees right now has a copy.
That's right. Yeah, Brandon's got a copy.
Brandon.
I see hashtags appearing. So
you do? I don't.
I don't see anything.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Marcus just keeps putting it over and over.
One
again.
hashtag so far.
Marcus, I'll just send you one, man.
He's the one that already has one.
All right, whatever. Nobody wants my book. You can't even give it away for free. Is that why I can't sell it?
Oh
no. No, that's not. There we go. That's better.
I was gonna say you're.
Looks like all the comments coming in are YouTube comments. Like maybe there's no Facebook. Oh, there's a Facebook. Brandon's on Facebook. All right, I wasn't sure. Maybe
yeah. I don't know what
all
screen
the platforms are coming through.
Let me see. Maybe this thing isn't working. It doesn't matter. I'm just taking this out of the show. This is the saddest thing. I can't give it away.
Anybody, I'll pay shipping.
It's free. I'm not selling it. Holy shit. All right, we're going to just, let's go. Let's get out of here.
What you have to learn from this, Will, is that these are stories featured first here on 1980s Now, and in the book, Kat and I aren't there. So
yeah, that's true.
You know, let this be a lesson to you.
Well, our names are in there.
I did toy with a version of it where I would have your interjections,
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it'd be like a side note, like John
and
Cat,
opted against.
Yeah, but that became like so difficult and
tough to
cumbersome
manage.
It would have been like reading a screenplay.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, you know what? Have this as a teaser. You want to hear the goofy friends interject the peanut gallery? Just listen to the show. All right, whatever. Yeah, all right, Brandon. I'll just send it to you. All right, cool. Yeah, Brandon, you got another copy coming. All right.
Oh, congratulations.
All right. I'm not even going to run this thing. It's so sad. Okay. I will try to pawn my book off on somebody in the future.
He's going to go walk around the neighborhood now.
I'm just going to throw it out the window.
Anybody.
It's going to be on fire at the time.
Hey, it's your new Tron shield.
Yeah, there you go. You can't hurt anybody. But
clunk right in the drywall.
Oh, I think that could hurt somebody.
Yeah. My novel could hurt somebody. All right. Oh, Brandon says autograph it. Oh, shit. I got to hang on, Brandon. You don't want this one. I just fucked it up.
He just threw it. He actually threw it.
All right, it's fine.
Yours may or may not include dog-eared pages and a bent spine.
Yes.
He's an actual person in an actual room doing actual things.
With actual books.
Yes.
All right. Hey, we will talk to you again next time on 1980s Now.
Until next time.
Putting on the ritz.
Now, I'm the one who hasn't eaten dinner today.
Me too.
Oh,
You still not eating dinner time?
oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I
now
guess
because
it is kind of dinner time.
it's
That's why.
tighter, so he has.
No,
That's why I didn't eat either. Yeah.
He has an earlier,
Right.
longer dinner
Yeah.
time now when we're early like this.
my perfect invocation of putting on the Ritz from Young Frankenstein was one time when my wife had hurt her foot and she had one of those big clunky wooden shoes on.
No.
And she was kind of clunking along.
No.
And I went, put it on the Ritz.
Oh,
She's
no.
like, you son of a bitch.
Yes.
And you survived.
She was
to tell
kind
the
of
tale.
clomping along, you know.
Oh,
How dare you?
gosh.
She also
Kind of
laughed.
you.
She laughed a lot because
Thank goodness.
it was funny.
Was there a moment where you're like, in your head, it's milliseconds? Is she gonna laugh?
Oh, I knew it was funny.
Okay.
I knew it was
Oh.
funny. It's
It
just
was
how
funny
long
to you.
before she laughs.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, she was suffering maybe, so she didn't think it was funny right away.
For a moment, yeah. She had to give it.
Oh, hey guys, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Brandon, Brandon actually bought my book because he's a super awesome, wonderful guy.
yes, he is.
What a champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks everybody else for hanging out today. So thoroughly grateful for all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, we will talk to you again. Hey, tomorrow night, if you want to hang out again, Kat and John won't be here, and it's not that I don't love those guys, but like I mentioned, it's because
We're not allowed.
it's because I want to have some folks, not know the story. I think it's just more interesting to have people's, fresh perspectives.
I look
on that.
forward to hearing it. I think it'll be fun for everyone involved.
So I'll be with Jessica and Meg tomorrow night. That's Thursday at 7 p.m. We're doing it at 7 p.m. So
Okay.
tomorrow.
So you're
if
going to
you
do it
can-
live?
Yeah, we'll do it live. Let them have that
Oh.
experience.
Right.
Oh,
Well, they had
okay.
better be as witty as Kat and I were. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we can
That's-
pepper we can put comments
We
in, John.
can quietly judge.
That's
Yeah.
a high bar. Yeah. You'll be in the comments all the time. Well, what I said on there during the live was,
Nobody's pointing out blah, blah, blah.
yeah, exactly.
You should have laughed a little more at that.
Right.
Right.
Cat just puts, ha ha. Ha ha ha.
Squeak, 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 squeak.
That'd be awesome. Get that out of here. All right, guys. We will see you again soon. Bye. There she goes. See you.